Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Larry McIntosh, and I'll be your host for the next hour and every Saturday morning from 8 to 9. Thanks for tuning in for this Victoria Day long weekend edition of Food and Friends. My guest this morning is Darren Dunn, Chief Executive Officer at Assiniboia Downs. Assiniboia Downs. See, I knew I was going to do that.
100% correct, Larry.
100%, I'm always correct.
I hear Assiniboia Downs all the time,
Do
all
you?
my life. Let alone, I kid you not, out of the United States and to go to a conference, etc. Assiniboia. That's a tough one.
So you shouldn't have planted that in my head now. we're not sure where it's going to all go.
But
So
you
how are
nailed
you?
it.
How are you today?
Great, terrific, feel good. Nice long weekend and live racing tonight and Monday afternoon as well. We have an afternoon race card, so looking forward to putting our best hoof forward and hopefully have some folks come out and join us.
Best hoof forward.
Well,
Is this going to be a whole hour of puns? Because generally I do the vegetable pun, so you know.
Oh, yes, right. No, I'll try and keep it more on track. You know, I fell into that one.
So you had racing last night, and
Yes.
then tonight, and Monday night or Monday afternoon.
Yeah, Monday afternoon card. It's not one of our regular family fun days. We have those on select days. The next one will be Father's Day when we'll roll out the free pony rides, the petting farm, and jumping gyms and that for the kids. But it still is an afternoon opportunity taking the races for those who prefer it. And it's always a pleasant atmosphere. You get a little bit of weather on your side, and you can enjoy the ponies.
So what time do you do on Monday, Victoria Day?
Monday we'll fire up Larry at 1:30. Live racing. The first race will go at 1:30, and that wraps up about 3 hours after that, similar to a bomber game or a jet game. So an afternoon of entertainment at 35 to 40 miles an hour if you have four legs and a tail.
So here's a cheap plug for the show because we're doing a special Victoria Day Food and Friends at 5 o'clock on Victoria Day. Special show.
Okay.
So they could go out, watch the racing, right?
Yes.
Have some nice food, and then on the way home, if they delay, they can listen to the show from 5 to 6 on Victoria Day.
Perfect. I love that dovetail. That is an absolute fit. Yes, wonderful. Everybody, your afternoon is planned on Victoria Day.
So when did racing start this season?
We got underway on May the 4th, Larry, and I think it's fair to say for all outdoor sports in Manitoba, it's a bit of a tough start. The weather wasn't kind, no surprise to anybody in Manitoba for that matter, but we fired up. It's like a busy little anthill out there, I say to people, or a beehive. Contractors, staff, horsemen from all over the world. We're fortunate to get some exciting additions in our jockey colony. In saying that, would like a few more horses, but that's something that we should be able to bolster in coming years. But saying that, went to post on Sunday afternoon, May the 4th, and got the season underway, and so far so good.
So it's got to be a challenge, as with any businesses related to being outside, whether it's the zoo or yourself or growing.
Yes.
Weather is certainly it's got to make a difference in attendance, right?
It really does. That's the bottom line. It affects your walk-up. We have those who are involved in the sport, follow the sport even throughout the winter. But as it relates to those who want to come out and enjoy it, the casual fans, walk-up's almost like our gravy, if you will. It's just that nice little top-up. So the difference between a crowd will have, Larry, for plus 8 degrees versus a crowd will have plus 20 is very visually measurable.
Well, Shelley and I are coming tonight. You know that already because we told you that this morning already. But we're coming tonight, so you have two more people.
Looking forward to it.
Than maybe you would have otherwise had.
That's right.
We haven't been out to the track this year so far, and we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun time.
We've got a beautiful little corporate box set aside for you, so a little bit of private service.
Really?
Je ne sais quoi pour favor, and whatever that means, and great view of the racing action from there. We'll throw in some programs, but the picking of the horses, whether you wager or not, name a color, that's on you, and we wish you the best of luck, and happy to have you as our guests.
I generally bet on the horse that's got something like a vegetable, some kind of,
Okay.
Is there,
screen the program first.
There's no vegetable names at all there? Like
I'm not going to
Fast Spud or something? well, we'll see. We'll see when we get there. So how many races during the season do you have?
Well, we try and have 8 races a day as our goal. We have 60 live race days, so we'll wrap up about the third week of September 20th, if I'm not mistaken. And due to the our challenge in our horse population and the weather that held back training for about 3 weeks, we were behind and playing a little bit of catch up. And really, to be clear about that, it's the local horses, the ones who are based out of Manitoba throughout the winter. We weren't able to open some of our key facilities, mainly our main track and our training facilities. We were probably 2 to 3 weeks behind. So the local horses are playing a little bit of catch up. But otherwise, we've had to go with some 6 race cards, but some 7s and 8s is an ideal race card for us. with the fullest fields we can, and 60 live days, and away we go.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me is 60 days. I had no idea it was that many.
It is, and you know, I mean, it was twice that 20 years ago, but you know, the reality of it is that you got to fit not just the model based on the horses that you can draw to Manitoba, which is more difficult than it's been in previous years. There used to be, and just quickly on that, there used to be more horse country, if you will, around us. There were more significant programs in North Dakota, South Dakota, Saskatchewan, and Montana, making it an easier draw for this area. Those programs are more challenged than they've been. And in saying that, you've got to fit the customer. You know, if you're here for jet games and there's, you know, with preseason maybe 44, 45, certainly not as many bomber games. Maybe Gold Eyes are more in our wheelhouse for a number of games, but it's still a lot of home dates, as you call them, as I call them anyways.
That is a lot of home dates. But there's more than, I mean, obviously you can go there and bet on horses, right? Sure. But there's more to it than that. There's the family fun day you're talking about, or is that what you called it? Sorry.
Yeah, you bet.
But you also have food there and all sorts of things. You haven't been out.
Absolutely. I mean, certainly we're a gaming facility first and foremost, so no anything that's not too obvious there in that regard. We do have BLTs. We have live horse racing, which is really our mandate. We have simulcast horse racing as well, which will bring in the top feeds from all over the world, and later this afternoon, we'll bring in the second jewel of the Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes, and looking forward to that. Beyond that, certainly we have facility rentals. We have the opportunity to have people come out, whether it's socials or dinners.
We'll be right back with Darren Dunn, CEO of Assiniboia Downs, after this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Peak of the Market is on Twitter. Follow us at Peak of the Market for recipes and Food and Friends guest updates. We have over 90,000 Twitter followers, and we'd love to have you follow us too. Again, we're at Peak of the Market, or my Twitter is at Larry McIntosh. We're back with Darren Dunn, Chief Executive Officer at Assiniboia Downs. So, are you on Twitter? Is the Downs on Twitter?
Yes, at Assiniboia Downs.
There you go. Perfect. So you can follow you as well. So we were talking off air about racing, obviously, but the future. What's the future look like for the Downs?
Well, we certainly publicly announced, Larry, a partnership we're very excited about, and launched that officially in December after probably better than a year and a half of negotiations, and proud to be associated with our partner, First Nation partner, Peguis First Nation. And, we have a large property out there, 140 acres in total, and very specifically the southern portion of it, large parking area built for more so when racing was the only game in town in the gaming market back in, let's call it the 70s and the 80s, et cetera. And so we got a lot of land that is underdeveloped, underutilized, and we're looking forward to doing some exciting things with Peguis First Nation. We have our eyes on some hotel development, conference center space, and some commercial space development.
So it's early days to be talking about it, but it's been a year and a half to get to this point, which is pretty quick, actually. It probably seemed like a long time, but that's pretty quick for that size of a deal or a development. Sure. Do you see things happening in the next year or two, or without giving anything away?
No, sure, no problem. Fair question. That's aggressive, and in saying that, we're going as fast as we professionally can, but pre-development, due diligence, feasibility, and reviews of the pieces of the puzzle we need to put in place. We'd love to have shovels in the ground as fast as we can. It won't be as fast as I think people do expect, because as you touched on, it does take a while. We want to do it once, do it right, and make sure we have the right fit for the property and for the area and for Winnipeg and Manitoba. So it'll take a while, probably longer than people think, but we're definitely going to be a little bit longer than that. And
what do you see as the exciting development down the road? Without being specific, what do you see happening out of this whole?
Well, you know what, Larry? I'd say we're in the entertainment business, so from that standpoint, we want to dovetail off that and create a destination site that works around live horse racing and the ability for people to come, stay, play, and really draw from outside of Manitoba and bring people in. The strategic location is fantastic with Centerport just to our north. Obviously, the perimeter, to immediately to the east, and then Highway 1 to the south. So it's a great little crossroads, forks, if you will, from a highway standpoint. So people can come in and participate, contribute to Manitoba, and stay beyond what we have right now, which is no ability to house people overnight, et cetera, other than the surrounding hotels. But we'd like them to come on site, stay on site, and work from there.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be years in the development. There's no question about it. And I'm not going to ask you where it's going to go because you may not even know at this point. But it's an interesting development out there. That's basically, as you're saying, a parking lot now.
Well, that's exactly it. It's underutilized, and we needed the right partnership, the right partner. They're well capitalized. They're enthusiastic. It's been a tremendous fit thus far. It did take quite a while to get to this point to put an agreement together. It's complicated, but in saying that, it's historical in nature in Manitoba for a First Nation and a nonprofit to get together. Something that we think will jointly benefit the joint interest for decades to come, rather than just saying something as simple as years to come. We think we'll have some things that will change the face of West Winnipeg out there, and we're hoping to bring those to fruition as fast as possible.
Well, and if it makes you feel better, I'll put it in potato terms for you. We've worked on customers in the U.S. for 2 years before we got our first sale. So a year and a half to get an agreement, that's pretty phenomenal. I mean, people may think it takes a long time, but that's really good. Yeah,
and it's complicated because there's different governance in both sides of the situation and due diligence to do it properly, and it's been wonderful to deal with them. It's been an honorable, transparent experience, and we look forward to that continuing.
So today you have obviously 60 dates, you're saying, for horse racing. You have the VLTs. How many VLTs do you have in there?
140.
140. So they're open every day?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, 7 days a week there. We're open, every day but Christmas. And that's even with some legislation changes an option as well. And we'll look at that moving forward. But, pretty much morning, noon, and night. Racing kicks off from the tracks across North America and abroad circa 11 a.m. And that goes usually through to about midnight, 1 a.m. VLTs from 9 a.m. right through to 2 a.m. And as I mentioned before, we have a lot of multiple areas and rooms that can be rented for as simple as a business meeting, as big as a wedding or a social or a black tie dinner. We've done those kind of events and look forward to continuing to do them. And
Shelley and I have been out there for some charity events. We've been out there for business dinner or business lunches, and it does a very great job out there.
Yeah, we've got different levels and different rooms we can really customize to fit. We've got a tremendous food and beverage staff that we're eager to do business with people, and we're happy to work with them and customize, price right, and and the other thing is, again, as we just talked about, I mean, the location, Portage Avenue and the perimeter, very easy to get to from anywhere in Winnipeg. Large parking, free parking makes it very easy to get in, get set up, and for people to get in and out.
That's great. And you know who's going to win the first race tonight? Or can you give me any tips at all?
I don't.
No tips?
Here's the easy one. Bet on the gray horse.
We'll be right back with Darren Dunn, CEO of Assiniboia Downs, after we take this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. It's time for our recipe segment called Now We're Cooking. Now, you don't need to write this recipe down, as it's today's recipe of the day at peakmarket.com and in the Winnipeg Sun. So all the information for this recipe is either on our website or today's Winnipeg Sun. Today's recipe is carrot topped with beef pie. Carrot topped beef pie, I should say. Okay, here's what you need for the recipe. 1 pound of lean ground beef, 1 onion chopped, 1 crushed garlic clove, 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, 1 1/4 cups of beef stock, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 1 chopped celery stalk, 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley chopped, 4 cups of diced potatoes, 2 large carrots diced, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 3 tablespoons of milk, and salt and pepper to taste. In a large skillet, cook the beef until no longer pink. Add the onion and garlic and saute until soft. Stir in the flour and gradually blend in the beef stock and tomato paste. Stir in the celery and 1 tablespoon of parsley. Season with salt and pepper. Bring the mixture to a boil, reduce the heat, and simmer for 20 to 25 minutes, and then spoon the beef mixture into the baking dish. Meanwhile, cook the potatoes and carrots in boiling water until tender. Drain thoroughly and mash together. Stir in butter, milk, and remaining parsley into the mixture and season with salt and pepper to taste. Spoon the potato mixture on top of the beef mixture to cover completely. Bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes or until cooked through. And this recipe serves 4. Again, this is today's recipe of the day at peakmarket.com and in the Winnipeg Sun. And all the recipes on our website or in the newspaper have both metric and imperial measurements, so you can get everything there. We'll be right back with Darren Dunn, Chief Executive Officer of Assiniboia Downs, right after we take this break for your CJOB news, sports, and weather. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Peak of the Market is holding auditions for children that want to be in one of our television commercials. The auditions are open to children 6 to 12 years old and will take place at the Center Court of Polo Park Shopping Center on Saturday, May 31st. Every child who auditions with me, which I'll be doing all the auditions all day long, they will receive a copy of their screen test. Then what will happen in June, volunteer media judges will view all the audition tapes, and the top 12 children's auditions will be posted on Facebook. And during July, the public gets to like their favorite auditions. The final 4 children who get the most likes on Facebook will be in Peak of the Market's television commercials this summer. Now, the 4 children that are going to be in the TV commercials will receive $300 for their family and $300 for the charity of their choice, which will donate in their name. And there's a lot of information I just went through here, so for complete details, including the script, please visit peakmarket.com. We're back with Darren Dunn, Chief Executive Officer of Assiniboia Downs. So the Downs are happening. There's races tonight. Things are exciting. But let's talk about you for a minute. Sure. How long have you been at the Downs?
I'm in year 32 now, Larry, actually, so I'm a bit of a lifer, and no, the gold watch isn't rolling across my desk. It's not time to walk away. I've got, as we talked about earlier, some exciting things to work on. Look forward to seeing those through to their full maximum, so 32 started when I was a teenager.
You must have been young.
I started at birth. Let me clarify that.
So how did you start out in the business?
Just really a situation where summer job in the backstretch, which to this day actually provides a great little base of understanding. It's a different world, so to speak, and really has me grounded on whether you're dealing with customers up front, the corporate community, or our very special guests from all over the world in the backstretch. But I was a horse groom when I was 15, and at the same time I worked in the press box as the gopher, if you will, as in go for this, go for that, whether that was a beverage or paper clips or photocopies. But it gave me a really unique view of the behind-the-scenes infrastructure, if you will, at the officials level. So got to watch a lot of things, learn a lot. And for that matter, I really gravitated at that time to the track announcer who was based out of the press box. And they're at the post, they're off, etc. So sort of hung off of his coattails there. Ken Miller, former St. James Winnipeg boy, and John Taylor graduate. And sort of one of those stick with me kid, I'll teach you everything I know scenarios. And so watched, learned, asked a lot of questions, and then ultimately got to call my first race when I was 17.
17?
17.
Wow.
Stepped up to the plate. God bless, rest his soul, Jim Wright. When I say that, I mean, as a CEO now, when I look back at putting a 17-year-old in the position to represent your brand and call a live horse race, and the difficulty that might present if things didn't go well or somebody clammed up, as in yours truly. Fortunately, I didn't, and some would say haven't to this day. But in saying that, I took a shot on me there, called a few races, and then really did that as the assistant for 4 years before the announcer left, went to the United States, and became the full-time announcer at 21, and then added positions along the way. Larry worked in the race office, worked in corporate sales, did director of operations, which really was sort of the number 2 position in that company for about 14 years as well. And one of those scenarios there. I mean, it sounds a little cliche, work my way up the ladder, but I really did, and here I am.
And you're doing race announcing a couple of years ago, right?
Right, yeah.
As recently as, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I did 25 years of that, and called 16,000 some odd races. Told a lot of stories.
Wow.
That's the way I like to kind of put it. Described a lot of action, had a lot of fun with that. Definitely outgrew the position, and really didn't have anything more to accomplish in that regard. Had some opportunities to leave Winnipeg related to that. Didn't want to go down that road. Winnipeg's home. My family's here, and enjoy raising a family here as well with my 2 sons and my wife. And once that's done, how many more Manitoba Derbies can you call? And in that regard, how many more races, stories do I need to tell in that sense? Had an ability to shape things from a more macro sense, and that challenge was really inviting, and the opportunity was there with my board of directors, and so I'm well into year 4 now of the CEO out there, and enjoying it.
So is there some part of you that wishes you could still call the odd race? I mean, you did 16,000, I get that. But did you want to do 16,100?
No magical number in that regard.
No.
And had fun with the names and the challenges and the people I met along the way, and some of the notoriety that came with that. But it was something that it was never boring. I treated every race, whether it was the Manitoba Derby or the Gold Cup, or maybe the lowest level race that we have out there, with the same kind of care and consideration. It might be just that horse owner's only win of the year. It might be that jockey's only win or that trainer's only win. So care and consideration to everything in that regard. Enjoyed telling those stories, but time to move on and no regrets in that regard.
And you have a great voice. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people recognize your voice from the track, but obviously you've done lots of interviews on CJOB over the years, amongst other things. So people recognize your voice, and you have a great voice for that. So it kind of missed that.
Well, God knows similar to this, give me a soapbox and you'll hear that voice. Rattle, rattle, ching, ching. I will shout from the rooftops about Assiniboia Downs and what it does for Manitoba and the people and the jobs and the opportunities and the entertainment value. So I might not be broadcasting every night live from the press box, Larry, but pretty hard to muffle me. But at some point, who knows?
Let's talk about the jobs and the economic development it creates. What's the track do? You've got some numbers?
Well over 500 full-time job equivalents.
Really?
Our staff, and this surprises people, Larry. We have over 250 employees there working right now. That is what we have for live racing. It is much bigger than people realize. It's like a little town out there, a small village, if you will, from back to front. It's 140 acres, so it's everybody from people who are taking care of the grounds to those who are punching the tickets, those who are prepping the food, administration, accounting, marketing. It just runs the gamut. It's a large sporting and gaming entity. In saying that, the economic impacts exceed $50 million a year, and that's money that's being recycled here in Manitoba. The people we bring in, as I talked about, whether that's for a jockey colony, the trainers, they're not just coming in for a weekend. They're coming here to stay for 5, 6, 7 months. And so their haircuts, their restaurant bills, going to the Forks, the Bombers, the Gold Eyes, etc., their entertainment, all here in Manitoba in that regard. So it's wonderful in that sense. They come, they make Manitoba home. They have tremendous things to say about it. They keep coming back, and we have a lot of repeat customers. Even Ardell Saylor, our leading trainer, off to a hot start, has been coming here since the 80s and would be the first person to say that it's not only a beautiful place to race, but the people are incredible. Friendly Manitoba really is, a title that's well-deserved here.
We'll be right back with Darren Dunn, CEO of Assiniboia Downs, after we take this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Food and Friends Radio is now on TV. Each radio show is filmed and will be posted on MyToba.ca. That's MyToba.ca. So if you want to see the TV version of this radio show, please visit MyToba.ca. Now, thanks to Chad, who's operating the camera. Now, little known fact, Chad had his birthday on Thursday. Happy birthday, Chad. And the teachers of the Broadcasting and Media Arts program at Techvoc High School for their involvement in making this happen. You can also listen to an audio podcast of Food and Friends at SoundCloud.com and at the iTunes Store. So just do a search at either SoundCloud.com or iTunes for Food and Friends with Larry, and you can listen to it there as well. So MyToba.ca, SoundCloud.com, iTunes, we're out there, as well as right here on 680 CJOB, where we want you to listen. We're back with Darren Dunn, Chief Executive Officer at Assiniboia Downs. So we were talking off-air during the commercial break, Year of the Horse. Is it really the Year of the Horse?
It really is the Year of the Horse.
I did not know that.
And, as we were talking to Preakness later this afternoon, and the last time there was a Triple Crown winner was 1978 and affirmed, and it was the Year of the Horse. So
really?
This could be fate karma scenario there for California Chrome, who won the Kentucky Derby, and he did it in pretty convincing fashion. So we'll see later today if he makes it 2 in a row and if he's got a shot to take the Belmont 3 weeks later.
That's pretty exciting.
Looking forward to it from that standpoint. You know what? And I got to mention one thing that's exciting in our sport as well, Larry, that it's very unusual and it actually might end up being possibly the biggest opportunity for wagering, not to focus on that too much, but on May the 26th, we have what has been what's called the Rainbow Six. It's a pool that's been building at a racetrack in the United States called Gulfstream Park in Miami, and the only way to win it is if you pick 6 winners and you're the only person who picks it, and then you get the whole pool. It starts at, let's say $100,000. It's already up to $6 million, but there's a mandatory payout day of the whole pool, even if multiple people pick all 6 winners. May the 26th at Assiniboia Downs, we're giving away a bunch of free bets in advance of that. For 20 cents, you could have a shot at what we think will be $15 or $20 million.
Really?
That's right. So it's Memorial Day in the United States, so Monday here, normal Monday in Winnipeg, but certainly if you happen to have the day off or the afternoon off for those folks who can come out and want to take a shot and have 2 dimes rolling around, you could win $15 to $20 million on May the 26th.
That sounds like a great opportunity.
Might be a little bit of fun.
Wow. So
Vegetable names, horses.
yeah, we're going to go back to that. Yeah, that's probably not going to be 6 horses with vegetable names. That'll narrow my opportunities down. So let's talk about the horses, though. I mean, we see the races, but what goes on behind the scenes?
Well, a lot of prep, care, and consideration that I don't think people can truly appreciate. They're not horses running around on a farm. It's a real cyclical program. You'll see those horses are up, 5 a.m. And yes, I had this question the other day. Do horses sleep? Well, yes, they do. Do they sleep standing up? No, they don't. They lay down on their bed of straw and get comfortable for the night. But they're up at about 5 a.m. They're fed shortly afterwards. They'll get out, brushed off. There'll be a program depending on whether how recently they've raced, Larry, and they'll be set for exercise. So exercise 7 days a week. Sometimes very casual, similar to a walk for us, or others it's like a sprint. And really all gearing up towards that next race. Afterwards, they'll be back. They'll get a nice bath. They'll be cooled off and walked around until their muscles are relaxed and ready to go. Have another snack, and the afternoon is theirs. Sometimes out for some grazing, etc., and fed later in the afternoon. A lot of care, a lot of top-notch veterinary work. These horses are athletes in the truest sense of the word. I mean, they are rippled muscles, no fat, no ifs and ors about it. I encourage people all the time when they come to Assiniboia Downs, take a moment, go to the paddock. It's on the north part of our property, north of our grandstand, and watch the horses be saddled. Watch them prior to, and that neat, interesting little experience in that regard. But you really get that close-up opportunity to see how dappled, how ripped these animals are. They're amazing.
So this is an opportunity that people can go out and see that?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time.
Yeah.
For example, somebody might want to stroll down there with their dates later tonight and watch the horses be saddled in the paddock.
So the horses now say they do sleep and they lie down to sleep.
You bet.
How often? How many hours do they sleep?
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah, so I didn't think anybody else would ask that.
Stumped officially. I don't know.
Can you go research that and get back to us for the next show? That'd be
come more prepared, Darren, for crying out loud. My God.
So if people are interested in race dates and more information, I'm assuming you have a website?
You bet. asdowns.com will really do it. And we've very proud to have launched our mobile site as well. And again, so if you're on your smartphone and you go to asdowns.com or assiniboiadowns.com, you'll come up on our mobile site. And very simple, easy questions and answers there, and it links back to our main site as well if you want more detailed information.
Great. Now you were saying in the first half hour of the show that you do rentals there for events as well. So how many rooms? How many people could you sit up there?
Well, we have a Finish Line banquet hall that comfortably does 150 to 200. So maybe for a smaller social event or recognition of somebody's anniversary or special day. Our main floor, certainly we can do 1,000 plus people on there. We can do a sit down dinner for a charity event in the range of 500, 600, 700, 800 all day long, and we put some money into that area, renovated, so it has a little bit more of a black tie look to it. Our clubhouse or terrace dining room, 300 comfortably, and in that environment. And then we can also set aside some private space on our third floor, Larry, and even if that's during live racing, where we can have your event or have somebody out set up a microphone, address whether it's staff or employee recognition or somebody's private family event, and then walk out and watch the races live from the open air grandstand, which gives a great view of the racetrack and certainly all of West Winnipeg as well.
And is simulcast racing a big part of the racing industry now?
Oh, it really is. It is. And that's both for what the race signals we bring in, Larry, from whether it's Belmont Park, Gulfstream in Florida, Santa Anita in California, drives the revenue. Certainly you can stay in touch with what's going on in a macro level. I mean, we're the AHL at Assiniboia Downs, the way I say it. We would have been the equivalent of the Manitoba Moose, and Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto would be the Toronto Maple Leafs or would be the NHL. But you can follow the top jockeys, the top horses, as we mentioned, the Preakness and the Triple Crown in the United States. But at the same time, for ourselves, that chance to sell our signal into the United States and abroad on the internet is a very big deal, forms part of our revenue base as well. So, that's ASD, as we talked about with the fun with Assiniboia or Assiniboia. We just want people in Texas or Florida or wherever to be able to say, AS Downs, race number 3, $2 to win on number 3, make it easy. And that is something that we've had some good success with.
We'll be right back with Darren Dunn, CEO of Assiniboia Downs, after this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. My guest today has been Darren Dunn, CEO at Assiniboia Downs. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Love love sharing what was a very, very quick moment with you. Just a nice casual conversation. Enjoyed it. And, thanks for recognizing as you do the businesses in Manitoba. It's very important, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
We had the hour together. It wasn't a quick moment. I mean,
you know what? But it flew by. You're so easy to talk to. I mean, my goodness.
Well, thank you for being on the show. It's been great.
Thank you. Please
join me on Monday, May 19th at 5 p.m. for a special Victoria Day edition of Food and Friends. My guest on Monday will be Dwight McCauley, Protocol Officer for the province of Manitoba. Dwight is very busy right now getting ready, everything organized for Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall's visit to Manitoba on Monday and Tuesday. So he's going to be here on Monday, so Tuesday and Wednesday. He's going to be here on Monday, and they're here Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's going to be cool to talk about that. Thanks to Nicole Bonnicop, our show's producer. Enjoy your long weekend. Take care, and please don't forget to eat your veggies.